Today's session was a learning experience. It gave me new insights into the flaws of exercises that I'm newly exposed to, as well as exercises that I thought I was very experienced in. Those two movements, namely, were the pull-up and the deadlift. So, I'm always advocating for people to record their sessions, record all their workouts so that they can see their progress. But that's only one reason why you should be recording yourself when you work out. I would say the biggest benefit you can get from recording yourself is actually seeing how your form looks, seeing the appearance and the aesthetic of how your movement looks, right? Now, with the pull-up, right, it seems like such a self-explanatory exercise. You lift yourself from the bar and you get your chin up. That's quite literally one of the most basic movements, right? You don't have any external weights applied onto you. You're purely using your body weight unless you're doing weighted pull-ups. And there really is only one way of doing the movement. And that's just flexing your biceps and bringing your back up, right? Now, when you see me start to load my pull-up, you would start to recognize that as my head goes up to the top, my trapezius and my rhomboids were actually rounding a bit. So my shoulders essentially were rounding to the sides. I was not actively squeezing my back. And because of that, there was very inadequate, contraction of my upper back. And the problem with this is that my lats will be, there will be muscle imbalances in the lats and the trapezius. Now, because trapezius actually has the role of abducting your arms and moving them backwards, right? So this essentially squeezes your scapulars together. And over here, you can quite literally see that I'm protracting my scapulars. They're moving away from one another. And this is more and more, exposed as I go into heavier weights and also when I am on the last few reps and I'm really struggling. Now here, I tried attempting this weight without rounding my shoulders, right? I was really trying to pull my scapulars back and retract them, right? And you can see, I couldn't even manage a whole rep at all. I stopped midway because I simply could not contract and pull at the same time. Now, this is a very big issue because my mind always thought when I was naturally pulling up, I was instinctively retracting my scapula. But as you can see, that's not the case. When I recorded myself, I was able to see the problem. I was able to see that physically my shoulders were not, my scapulars were not retracting whatsoever. And they were actually, by nature, they were just rounding at the very top. And I think there's a few reasons as to why this is the case. Now, I tried experimenting with lighter weights, so about 9 kilos, and at no weight at all. And what you can see is that here I'm trying to actively retract, but in my prior one, when I tried getting to the higher, when I was trying to pull my chin up to the bar, the way I was trying to bring my chin to the bar caused me to, round myself closer to the bar, such that my torso just makes it easier for me to bring my chin up the bar, right? Now, over here, these few reps, I just did them naturally, how I just normally do a pull-up. And at the very, very top, you'll see that I am rounding my shoulders. Here, I tried retracting, and you can see almost immediately, like I'm struggling. I'm having a much more difficult time trying to get my chin up to that very high level in order to achieve that full range of motion in the pull-up. Now here, I was really trying to retract as hard as possible, and it made me wonder: is there a almost seems like I'm arching my back, my lumbar spine, and I'm overextending it, right? While pulling up to the top. And yeah, I wasn't too sure if I was doing this movement properly, which I really surprised myself with, because the pull up was quite literally the foundation of my workout since the start of my calisthenics journey and just working out in general. Now, I also thought it may have been an issue with my grip, but here you can see it looks like a pretty aesthetic pull up, right? It's recruiting all the nice muscles and everything with a wider grip, but here is where the appearance, I guess, contradicts with how you feel. I did not feel like I felt uncomfortable having a wider grip. And although it may have looked a bit more aesthetic, I myself felt like I was not engaging properly with the pull-up movement. Now over here, a friend of mine told me to do deadlifts. I've never deadlift, or I've only ever experimented with deadlifts, so I probably deadlift like 2 times before, and they were I guess they were expanded by like a range of, it's like 6 months, a year or so. And here I was just practicing the deadlift motion. Now, my main concerns were to engage my lats, keep my back neutral, engage my abs, and all the things just to keep the deadlift safe, right? Now, I was under the impression that I would be easily hitting above my squat PR, which is 120 kilos for 3 reps, right? And here, you can clearly see that I was struggling with 110 kilos. And there is a new psychological experience that I've been exposed to, and it's the feeling, it's like the immovable feeling of the bar when you're pulling hard but you're just not moving, and all of a sudden you're in this isometric position where you're contracting all your muscles but they're not shortening, right? The length is maintaining itself, and you just can't get that bar off. Now here, like, I tried changing it to a sumo squat or a sumo stance, and that bar did not budge at all. Now, you can kind of see why this was a big shock to me, because with a lot of lifters, or like the average person, their deadlift typically seems to be larger than the squat, right? But for me, I just felt really uncomfortable with this weight, and I would much rather squat 110 kilos for like a set of 5 than even doing one single rep with the deadlift. Now here I tried doing the sumo stance, and I was feeling a bit in my adductors, but yeah, the deadlift was definitely a big surprise to me. It was a whole new movement, and I'm hoping to work on this later on. Now, since the smaller squat program actually is programmed not to use any deadlift sessions throughout the whole 12 weeks, I'm going to see how well my deadlift will increase naturally as my squat increases. But yeah, shout out to my friend that can deadlift 140 kilos on his first ever deadlift session. That is insane. But yeah, well, I'll see you guys later, and yeah.